Today on Commander Replay, Firesong and Sunspeaker are back, and it's a real grind fest. Can Firesong and Sunspeaker outlast Licia Sanguine Tribune, Oloro Ageless Ascetic, and Selvala Explorer Returned? Find out next on Commander Replay. Hello everyone, welcome back, playing some Firesong and Sunspeaker. Take a look at our opening hand. Wow, a hand that I actually don't have to mulligan, so let's keep that. Even though I run 38 lands in most of my decks now, I've been having to mulligan like crazy on Magic Online at a ridiculous rate, to the point where, like, you mulligan, then you mulligan again, and then you mulligan again, and you still have no lands. You're down to 5 or 6 cards, and you still have no lands. It's pretty annoying, especially when you run higher land counts. Looks like there's an Oloro opponent in the game. Interesting matchup here. Oh man, there's no real aggro opponents. Well, maybe Licia. Licia? I don't remember what I called her in the video that I did on her. By the way, Licia is one of the decks that I am most disappointed with that I've done on the channel. Would I like to do another one at some point? Yes. Would I like to spend the time to do it? No. And I say that because I have a to-do list of about 30 videos right now that I'm trying to work on for you guys, and going back to do that one just doesn't seem all that exciting to me, so I don't know. We'll see. Maybe if we get into like a lull period somewhere where there's not a whole lot going on, we'll take another crack at her. But until then, I'm just going to have to live with the disappointment that was that deck. So we're playing Firesong and Sunspeaker. We have a Licia Sanguine Tribune opponent, an Oloro Ageless Ascetic opponent, and a Selvala Explorer Returned opponent. This is going to be fairly interesting, I think, because with our deck, we kind of want to see creature-heavy decks. Oloro is not that, and Selvala's probably going to make 1,000,000 mana in a turn and just kill us with, like, Avengers Zendikar and Craterhoof Behemoth all in one shot, and not really give us a great chance to respond to it. So that's all going to be very interesting. The thing you really want to see with a Firesong and Sunspeaker deck is, like, an elf tribal deck. You're like, oh yes, many elves that I can wipe away in this earthquake. But that doesn't look like what we're going to get today. So we draw a Signet, we'll play the Signet, and pass the turn. Now, also interesting in that we're going to be able to gain a lot of life, Oloro's going to be able to gain a lot of life, and Licia is also able to gain a lot of life. That's 3 decks that can gain a lot of life. And, I mean, Selvala can probably punch out some damage, but the other 2 opponents are kind of a long and slow sort of game plan. Although if you leave Licia around long enough, it will get pretty big. So I suppose it can end the game with commander damage after just a couple of turns. But this is going to be a weird matchup. Yeah, let's just keep an eye and see how this thing goes. So there's Selvala coming down. While I was talking, by the way, Licia laid down a Rakdos Signet, and Oloro laid down a Sensei's Divining Top. Selvala coming into play, and that brings it back to our turn. So we draw a land, we'll play the land, and then we'll lay down the Thran Dynamo. Nothing to do with the 3 mana this turn, which is unfortunate, but yeah, we'll just tap out and pass. Now, the one question I'm asking myself is, how do we close out the game? We know Oloro's going to have a really high life total, and I'm not entirely sure how our deck wins games, to be completely honest. We have a couple win conditions in here. When you're playing red and white, you don't have great ways to tutor for those win conditions, so if we never draw them, that could be a big problem. I do need to get a lot more playtesting in with Firesong and Sunspeaker. As much as it seems like just jam all the burn spells into the deck, I think building this deck the right way may be more nuanced than that. Only time will tell. So the Licia lays down a Pure Steel Paladin, possibly doing some sort of Voltron thing, and casts a Demonic Tutor, so they're going to get to search for something, anything, and the worst part is we don't know what it is. A funny thing that we can do is we can cast this Stuffy Doll and name it on the Oloro, and then whenever anyone attacks us, then we can make sure that Oloro is taking damage. I have some bad memories of facing Oloro in 1v1. A 1v1 Oloro control deck is just miserable to play against. You can't do enough damage before they find all of their control stuff, and I mean, the deck is like almost entirely spells. You can't have enough threats in your deck to counteract the number of control spells that they play. Super frustrating matchup, at least as someone who's playing predominantly red-white at that point in time. Opponent activates the Selvala, and we get a Sun Titan off the deal, and they're going to lay down a Kodama's Reach, so they're going to get themselves some lands and ramp a little bit. And as inauspicious as that seems, giving mana to Selvala can be a problem. Selvala does generate a lot of mana. I've seen her end the game out of nowhere. It's a thing that can happen, so we do have to be careful. Hopefully Oloro can keep her in check. That is what I am hoping for. We draw a Worn Power Stone. Right here we have 4, 5, 6, 7. We could have 8 mana available to us. That is an awkward amount. Not really sure what Oloro's doing. I'm torn between Solemn Simulacrum and just laying down Firesong. I think, yeah, Let's just try Fire Song right here and see what happens. Actually, no. Never mind. Scratch that. So we have 8 mana, which means we can cast Solemn Simulacrum and Worn Power Stone. And I don't think Oloro will be too interested in countering either of those. So Solemn Simulacrum, going to find us a land. Let's get a Plains. We're going to play our Scalding Tarn in case of a Force Spike. And then lay down the Worn Power Stone. Pass the turn. So now we got our ramp going, and ramp is good. Selvala should give us some extra card draw, which is good too. Since we are red-white, we do not draw well. And the thing that I usually rely on to draw with red-white is Mask of Memory, which isn't a card that really makes a lot of sense with what Firesong and Sunspeaker are trying to do. So, yeah. Firesong and Sunspeaker is a Boros commander that it's so different that all the tools that I'm used to using in a Boros deck don't really apply to Firesong and Sunspeaker. So normally something like Aurelia Mask Memory draws you a lot of cards. Aurelia Sword of the Animist, find a lot of lands, that sort of stuff. Not entirely sure where to make up that card advantage loss with Firesong yet. So something to figure out. Opponent lays down a Sword of the Animist, and they're going to get to draw a card with the Pure Steel Paladin. So yeah, one thing after playing Licia is she is expensive to cast. Once you get some life gain going, she's not too bad. Even then, maybe a little bit pricey. But this early part of the game, she's expensive, and then if you lose all your stuff to something like an Austere Command or Hour of Revelation, something like that, it can be really hard to get going again. It's an interesting commander, but from my experience with it, it does have some weaknesses. So opponent's going to load up their Pure Steel Paladin with Luxodon Warhammer and Sword of the Animist. Let's see where they attack. Oloro is going to use the Divining Top, and opponent gets a Sword of the Animist trigger. And opponent tags the Oloro for 6 damage, putting them at 42. Yep, that's what Oloro does. It gains a lot of life. Gaining that life back. Already back to 44. And Oloro does nothing and passes with all their mana open. Nothing scarier than that from an Esper deck. Who knows what awful things could happen. Desertion is one that seems particularly bad. We draw a Crucible of Worlds. That is a card that I want to make sure resolves. So I think we could go Stuffy Doll and see if they counter Stuffy Doll. Then maybe try the Crucible of Worlds. We do already have a fetch land, so that's good news also. There's only so many mountains in this deck, so we may run out after a period of time. Marwyn the Nurturer coming into play. New card out of Dominaria. Cares about elves, so possibly an elf tribal deck. Add mana equal to Marwyn's power. Oh, yeah, there's another elf. Yeah, maybe it's elf tribal. In the meantime, we will crack this Scalding Tarn. Get a Sacred Foundry tapped. Looks like we have about 5 or 6 mountains in our deck. We can get a number of turns out of that Scalding Tarn, Crucible of Worlds. There's a Gift of Estates. How are we doing? 3, 4, 5, 6. Opponent has 6 lands. We have 5 lands, so Gift of Estates is active. We should probably do that. Yeah, let's go Gift of Estates right here. I think we'll go Gift of Estates and Firesong Sunspeaker this turn. If Firesong gets countered, it's annoying, but it's not the end of the world. The things in our hand, I really want to make sure they resolve, so actually let's check to see how much mana we have left. So we'll get 3 plains. So we are good to keep making our land drops for a while. We have 1 floating, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That'll be 10. We'll have 10 mana. So we're going to go for our commander right here. And 1 left. Firesong and Sunspeaker coming down. Let's see if Oloro has anything to say about that. No, they don't. Huh. Makes me not want to run Crucible of Worlds out there yet. Crucible of Worlds is a card that takes a lot of hate and is also likely to eat a counter spell. Actually, you know what? I think we're okay. We have a bunch of lands in our hand, so even if they do, we can still keep making land drops for a while. And we have a Sun Titan, so we can get the Crucible back if we need to. So I think I feel comfortable slamming that right here. Even playing it into a counterspell if that's what this comes to. It resolves. I could attack for 2 into the Oloro. I don't think that's going to make too much of a difference, though. I'd rather have the Solemn Simulacrum back so we can block with it and draw a card if someone decides to swing into us. Also, no need to make enemies just yet. Looks like Licia wants to do some attacking, so we will let her do that. Pure Steel Paladin, by the way, is really expensive. Never mind, it's come back down a little bit. So at one point, it was about $17 in paper, and it looks like it's come back down to about $8. I know there was that deck, the Shram combo deck with Pure Steel Paladin, where you play all the stuff for free in Modern, so that really inflated the cost of it. $8 is a much more reasonable Pure Steel Paladin than $15. Anyway, opponent disenchants the Luxodon Warhammer, so the lifelink and the trample are going to be gone from Pure Steel Paladin. And honestly, if I were our opponent, I'd probably double block that Pure Steel Paladin since it can draw a lot of cards. Decent play, as shutting down the Luxodon Warhammer will stop Licia from coming into play. Although, I would like someone out there to start attacking our other opponents, because this game is going to go really long if everyone just tries to destroy everything. along the way, and Oloro has 8 cards in hand. He has cast only his Sensei's Divining Top, so it looks like they're just saving up all their bullets, and yeah. There's a Sun Titan, so I'm probably going to get back the Warhammer. Yeah, Sun Titan grabs the Warhammer. That's going to also get them another card draw. Uh-oh, Oloro just played a Notion Thief. Here comes the wheel. Very unfortunate that we don't have the mana for this fault line. And, I mean, you know that they wouldn't run the Notion Thief out there if they didn't have the wheel, so this is about to be bad. Hope Licia catches a Path to Exile off the top, or Swords of Plowshares. Opponent's going to Divining Top again. There's a Merciless Eviction, exiling all artifacts. Ooh, that's bad. That is bad. No card draw off the Solemn Simulacrum. That gets rid of the Sword of the Animist and Luxodon Warhammer from the Licia opponent. Gets rid of our Crucible of Worlds and a lot of our mana ramp. I was worried about Oloro just holding something like that. I was thinking it would be a destroy effect and we'd be able to get it back with Sun Titan. Was not counting on Merciless Eviction right there. But the good news is that we should be able to untap with this fault line and get rid of this Notion Thief. The question is when to do it. Do we do it while opponents tapped out, or do we do it when they try to combo with it? Ask opponents if everyone wants to attack Oloro. Fraley is coming down for the Selvala opponent, along with a Mirari's Wake. Opponent's going to send an elf into the Oloro. You really want like a Voltron commander. Granted, Voltron commanders are weak to Oloro, but the fact that they gain so much life, it is just really difficult to do enough damage against them. Doing 21 commander damage much easier if every card in their deck wasn't destroying the stuff that you're playing, and making it very difficult to be a Voltron commander. Seeker of Skybreak coming down for the Selvala opponent. There's a Felidar Sovereign. That's interesting. That will most definitely get us attacked. Play land. I want to play the Stuffy Doll right here, but I think we just have to leave up Fault Line. Part of me wants to play Sun Titan, but I know it's not time yet. Someone needs to get more cards out of the Oloro's hand, because they're just going to wipe the board and play tons of removal. So, did make the mistake of not being aggressive enough the other day, but I'm not really sure that it matters either way right here. One of the things I'm worried about, too, is that if we Fault Line, if we wait for them to untap, they'll probably have a counterspell in there. We'll see if Licia has any removal that they're interested in using against Notion Thief. So Licia sent in both creatures at the Oloro. Sun Titan's going to trigger and get a Marsh Flats. Ooh, opponent blocks with the Notion Thief. Interesting. Maybe they figured they don't have the combo, and having the Notion Thief out there is just going to get them killed. So it's not worth keeping out there. I've had that happen with Planeswalkers occasionally, where it's just like, fine, you can have the Planeswalker. It's not worth me trying to defend it every turn. I will lose more than I'll gain by just letting it go. So Oloro down to 36, 4 commander from us. Still a long ways to go. Dowsing Dagger for the Licia opponent. So Pure Steel Paladin's going to trigger again. And looks like they're giving us the plant tokens. How very nice of them. Open the Armory for Licia. More equipment, so they are a equipment deck. If you get a War and Peace hit off that Oloro opponent, it's going to be 11 damage. Even they'll start to feel that one. They go for a Champion's Helm. It's fine. Does protect their stuff, adds a little bit of damage. Not the most exciting, though. Another card draw for the Pure Steel Paladin. I'd love to get me some of that card draw. There's a Wrath of God. Yep. In comes the control. So all the creatures going away. Sensei's Divining Top coming back for the Oloro. Fraley's going to make a 1/1 elf. Probably time to pay attention to the Fraleys a little bit. They're going to be able to draw a lot of cards. Opponent's going to recast Selvala and cast a Heedless one. We unfortunately basically lost a turn cycle holding up mana against the Notion Thief. However, if we had played a creature other than Stuffy Doll, we would have just lost it to the Wrath of God, so maybe not the worst thing. We draw planes off the top, not really what we wanted to see. We had some lands already. I think I'm just going to go with our commander right here. Not ready to try this Felidar Sovereign yet. Still a few too many cards in hand to make me feel comfortable doing that. So I think we just recast our commander. That shouldn't draw too much attention to ourselves, and after that we can leave up Fault Line if we need to in case the elves decide to come our way. Licia coming into play. Let's see if this draws a counter. It doesn't look like it. Nope, no counter. Opponent's going to put the Champion's Helm on it. It's got a little bit of protection, but I assume that there's another board wipe coming. And opponent's going to put some +1/+1 counters on it. Gets 3 +1/+1 counters at the cost of 5 life. And there's a Basilisk Collar. Going to add Death Touch to the equation. First strike Death Touch is always fun. Makes it really hard to block. As long as they don't have Trample, we're good, because then we can just lay down the Stuffy Doll and life should be fine. However, most of our removal is damage-based, so at some point that Licia is too big for us to kill. And by some point, I mean we're already at that point, so we'll see how this plays out. Ooh, an Arcane Lighthouse for the Oloro opponent. They will now be able to target the Licia if they want to. And there's a Supreme Verdict. Yeah, I thought that was coming. That's why I didn't want to commit too much to the board right there. This turn, I think we just lay down the Stuffy Doll on the Oloro. There's a Windborn Muse coming into play. Windborn Muse does have flying. Unfortunately, our fault line will not hit that. And Oloro already back to 40 life. Fraley is going to make another elf, up to 9 loyalty, but all their creatures got wiped away. Selvala coming back into play. Opponent's still got a bunch of mana floating. We draw a Marsh Flats. Meh. Play the Plains. Play the Stuffy Doll right here. And name Oloro. Not much else we can do, so pass the turn. And this is where I was talking about making all of our land drops. We still have 2 lands in hand. At some point, if it makes sense for us and we think that the board wipes are gone, we can play Sun Titan to start getting some of the fetches out of our graveyard. But in a long game, you want to make all your land drops. It's turn 8. Oloro's made all their land drops. Looks like Licia has. They may have even accelerated a little bit. There's a Timna the Weaver coming into play. Oh yeah, so Licia accelerated off of the Sun Titan, grabbing some lands out of the graveyard. They have 10 lands by my last count. And it looks like Selvala is on 9 lands. So Timna the Weaver coming into play, gonna get equipped up with the Champion's Helm and equipped up with a Darksteel Plate, so it's a 4/4 indestructible. Bloodgift Demon coming into play for the Oloro. That's a thing. Creature that draws more cards. Windborn Muse going to start attacking into the Fraleys. Yeah, that seems like a good idea. Fraley's probably going to be able to draw some cards this turn. Ghostly Prison for the Oloro, so it's going to be really hard to attack Oloro. The best bet actually now is just to attack into our Stuffy Doll and redirect it to the Oloro. We draw another not helpful land. As far as I can tell, the game is still a long ways away from ending, but... So having lands is all right, so we can keep making land drops, but... we do need something that's going to have a little more substance for us. I would love to see our Outpost Siege get a little card advantage going. I wouldn't mind seeing a Wheel of Fortune either. I assume that Oloro is still holding all gas in their hand. If we Wheel of Fortune them, they'd probably draw into more lands than they draw into good cards. Because that's usually what happens when you mid to late game a Wheel of Fortune on someone. Opponent's going to give us some tokens with the Dowsing Dagger. How very nice of them. It's interesting not being the player who just attacks everyone. Opponent says they feel bad for us. Yeah, either way, I'll take some tokens. We are not running the most tuned of decks. Selvala and Oloro have been around much longer and have had much more time to be refined than our Firesong and Sunspeaker deck. So opponent's going to draw some cards with Fraley's. 2 by the looks of it. Kinda rough to spend that much loyalty to draw only 2 cards, but when you're down to 1 card in hand, especially if you don't like it, then you'll do anything to look at some extra cards. Wirewood Herald. Now that Oloro has committed some creatures to the board, I think they'll be a bit more hesitant to board wipe. So we're probably safe to cast our Sun Titan for a minute and try to get some value off the Scalding Tarn. Opponent asks if Stuffy Doll is ready to block. And I say, yes, it is. Ooh, Coat of Arms. Coat of Arms, you say. Those elves just got scarier. Got a 6/5, a 4/4, and a 5/7. Woo! I'll just go on the assumption that Oloro has something for that. Plus the fact that they can draw a bunch of cards and use Divining Top. We'll let them handle that for now. We'll just try to keep getting lands into play and make sure our fault line is big enough to deal with the elves as they continue to grow. Come on, big draw off the top. So Oloro scoops it up. Oloro now out of the game. Well, that's kind of what was holding this game together. Now things are going to get real weird. Also, that means we lose half the value on our Stuffy Doll. Tithe is not the card that we wanted to see right here. That being the case, though, the elves are going to get big. We know that they can play an additional elf off Fraley's, and they may draw into one. Someone says, just like an Esper player. Yeah, make the game take forever, then do nothing. I still like the Sun Titan plan right here. So let's go Sun Titan. Actually, I didn't mean to play that land just yet. How many lands? We have 7, 8, 9, 10 lands. How many lands do our opponents have? 7, 8, 9, 10. Yep, playing that land right there just shut down our Tithe. So I guess we just Sun Titan. Sun Titan, get the Scalding Tarn. Pass the turn. Actually, better plan right there would have just been to cast Firesong and Sunspeaker. Because then the plan would be Firesong and Sunspeaker, Fault Line the following turn, then slam Felidar Sovereign and hope it sticks around. The thing with Oloro scooping is that will prevent this game from just taking hours. Opponent's going to swing their Timna into the Selvala opponent, and they're just going to block with an elf. No real gain right there. Not sure what the plan was. Maybe they have a red burn spell. Oh, lifelink, right, that makes sense. So they wanted to gain the life so that they could recast their commander. Yep, now I see what they're doing. Licia coming back into play. Masterwork of Ingenuity. What's it going to copy? Copies the Darksteel Plate, so can make 2 creatures indestructible. Not exactly sure how we get through that. Opponent pluses the Licia. It's now a 7-7. Huh. So Licia probably the strongest thing left on the board. They have some lifelink. They don't have Trample yet. Trample's the big one. That's a Rings of Brighthearth. Rings of Brighthearth is something. That means we can get really far ahead on lands with both of these fetches. Fraley's gonna make another elf. The elf's gonna get a little bigger. Well-Wisher coming down. Ooh, boy. Well-Wisher's a problem because he'll be able to gain a lot of life. There's an Earthquake. Earthquake is sweet. Play this fetch land. Crack this fetch land. Oh, no! Oh, no, we didn't play the Rings of Brighthearth first. Oh, God. Oh, that's a punt. Crack the other fetch. Pay for the Rings of Brighthearth. I'm going to get 2 planes. We're actually running out of basics. Opponent says, interesting Boros ramp. Yep. That being the case, actually, we can just cast Tithe now also. There's only 1 planes left in our deck. I'm going to leave the Sun Titan back. Either place that we would attack in with it, it's going to die. I figure it's worth keeping around, at least for a little bit. The question is, do we cast the Felidar Sovereign right here? If we do, I know that we're going to get attacked like crazy. So maybe we don't. Maybe I think we hold back the Fault Line for now. We can Fault Line for X5. The other side of it is that we can block all of our opponent's stuff. They don't have enough things out right now to really get through. Maybe, maybe we can go for the win. No, I think we need to wait 1 more turn. Opponent's gonna put the Champion's Helm on the Licia. Yup. Mastermind's Acquisition. Search your library for a card. Put it in your hand, then shuffle. Ooh, that's not good. At a point in the game like this, anything that they're getting, I'm sure, is very, very nasty. Board wipe, maybe? Yeah, board wipe would be really one-sided at this point. If it's just like a Damnation or something, we'll still have the Stuffy Doll, so... Whew. Lycia up to a 12-12. They could also be going for Trample. Trample's a relevant ability. It's a Chandra's Ignition. That does kill all the elves. Puts 12 damage on the Stuffy Doll, which unfortunately goes nowhere. We go down to 25, which means we are going to have to gain some life before Felidar Sovereign starts looking good. And the Lycia opponent is up to 175 life. Wow. If they have an Aetherflux Reservoir, they can kill both of us easily. I was just thinking about Chandra's Ignition, actually, and how good it would be in a Lycia deck. So, good on our opponent. Lycia going to swing into the Selvala opponent, and going to send the 2-2 at us. We will just block. Wish we had a way to blink our Stuffy Doll, but I'm pretty sure we do not. Ooh, Selvala just scoops it up. Alright, so now we got a game going. Opponent's up to 189 life. They still have 5 cards in hand, which makes me kind of nervous. If they find Trample, we're going to be in a world of trouble. 5 damage, loses Indestructible, huh? That is interesting. I think right here, recast our commander, play a land, pass the turn. Maybe not. Maybe, do we Earth? Yeah, we have a lot of burn spells, so I think we just Earthquake for 3 and gain that life. Yeah, let's do it. We have enough burn spells in hand, so I think it's fine. Earthquake for 3, that's going to gain us a bunch of life. Puts us exactly at 40, which is the correct number for that Felidar Sovereign. I guess the question is, does Lycia have evasion or removal? That's the 2 things we need to watch out for. Well of Lost Dreams means they can draw a lot of cards. It's not great. Opponent's going to Volrath Stronghold their Sun Titan. Whew. Opponent's going to attack with both. It's going to put some counters on Lycia. It's going to get bigger. Use Stuffy Doll to block the Lycia. And use Firesong to block the Tymna. And let me guess, draw 5 cards with a Well? Stuffy Doll takes 15 damage. Opponent decides to draw, looks like 3 cards with the Well of Lost Dreams. Probably would have went all 5, honestly. Oh, they got another trigger coming. Don't you worry. No, decides not to use it, though. 2 mana open. Man, that is suspicious. Huh. Makes me nervous about trying to land our Felidar Sovereign right here. Land tax is a whole lot of not helpful. Play the planes. Yeah, I mean, I think we just have to try it. Next turn, they'll be able to draw so many cards that we just got to go for it right here and hope that things work out. Just out of curiosity, do we have enough to kill everything? It's 5 mana for 5 damage right there. We have exactly 15 mana, which is, just short of killing their Lycia. Oh, that's so frustrating. Play the Felidar Sovereign. Play the land tax. Pass the turn. Hopefully Felidar Sovereign stays in play, and we can preserve our life total. But opponent's going to be able to draw a lot of cards. There's Sun Titan. What's in their graveyard? Pure Steel Paladin. Land in Pure Steel Paladin, that's not the most interesting. I mean, them casting Sun Titan is them not casting removal, so that is a really big deal. I want them to spend their mana doing things that is not them killing this Felidar Sovereign. Oh, there's Trample. Alright, this is going to get rough. And draw a card with the Pure Steel Paladin. Stoneforge Mystic. This is actually good, though. Opponent is playing a lot of targets for this fault line, so we may actually be able to gain enough life back after this hit to stay at 40 for this Felidar Sovereign. Oh, come on. Blackblade Reforged. Oh, now I don't know if we can survive. Crap. So we should have fault lined in response to that to get rid of the pure steel paladin. Opponent's gonna... Oh, they didn't do it! Oh my god, we can respond. We can respond. So right here, opponent's all out of mana. So we have to fault line. If we go X5, that means that Firesong only blocks 1 point of damage, which is concerning. Yeah, I guess we go X2. X2 will gain us plenty of life. The problem is going to become commander damage, which we just need to try to soak up as much as we can. Yeah, let's go X2. So Pure Steel Paladin goes down, which is really important. So now they can't equip Blackblade Reforged. Oh, wow. They also didn't equip their Haunted Cloak. We are golden. Opponent's going to put some counters on Licia. Nice, we're going to get there. Woo! I thought I punted at the end after the equipments came down. And if they just move Blackblade Reforged over with Trample, then there's nothing we can do. We can't soak up that much commander damage. So opponent's going to attack with 2. We'll take the 2 from Timna the Weaver, throw the Stuffy Doll in front of the Licia, stop all 20 of that damage. Opponent's all tapped out. Stuffy Doll eats the brunt of the damage. We're going to take 2. We just needed to get back to our turn. And there it is. There's the Felidar Sovereign trigger. Yes, there it is. Boom. Nice. So getting the Felidar Sovereign win, which is good because there aren't a lot of other ways that this deck can win. So very important that our win condition sticks around. This deck needs some work. I didn't like our position throughout the game. It just felt like, and I know we're supposed to play kind of a controlling role, but because we're not able to draw a ton of cards, it's kind of difficult. Everyone else just gets way ahead on advantage doing different things. We just felt very far behind all game, just kind of waiting for something to happen. Oloro took up a lot of the focus through the first half of the game. Then they left. The game changed radically once that happened. Licia took out the elf opponent with a really big Chandra's Ignition, and then we were able to just hold on to our Felidar Sovereign for just long enough to get the win. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the video. As always, feel free to comment, like, or subscribe. Thank you for watching.